immediately go into my new face. So I always do my new face on clean skin. This is my microcurrent device that I use most mornings. I've used it, for probably close to 5 years. I've been using microcurrent in my routine. So I use either the gel or the cream from the company itself. I see a lot of people on social media who use kind of like random oils and stuff as quote unquote conductors, but it's really important that you use a product that actually conducts the microcurrent or it's not going to work. Hello and welcome to another week of #Skinthusiast, the podcast. You guys have really been enjoying the solo episodes. They are by far my most listened to, so I'm trying to incorporate more of them for you. If you have any requests on topics you want me to cover in these solo episodes, definitely DM me over on Instagram at Amy Coberling. I want to cover all the topics that you want to hear about, so let me know in the DMs and I will record that episode for you. Today's episode is all about my fall routines, my fall skin routine, beauty routine, wellness routine, fitness routine, what I'm eating, how I'm just really adjusting my lifestyle as we transition into the fall months. I think that these seasonal transitions are such a beautiful way to reflect on the season previously, how you've evolved over that season, and how you want to enter into a new season of the year. And I think that goes for seasons of life too. It's just a really nice opportunity to think back on the things that we'd like to maybe change and the things we would like to keep the same and continue to nurture. So this is going to be kind of a well-rounded episode. You're going to hear a little bit about even the kind of meditations I'm doing, but of course we're going to chat skin and how to adjust your routine for fall. So this is kind of what's been working for me, what's been serving me. I feel like I'm in a really good place with my routines currently. There's a lot going on in my life, but I feel like I'm finally able to kind of go inward and keep my home base and keep my mental sanity from riding the roller coaster of life with me, if that makes sense. I feel like once I come home, I can kind of turn off and just continue on instead of letting all the ebbs and flows and the busyness of life really impact my home routine. So I hope that this inspires you a little bit to kind of get your own routines down so that you can go into the fall and winter seasons really feeling like yourself and nurturing the parts of you that you want to nurture. So let's start with my skin routine. So first I'm going to give you my full routine. So in the morning, I am cleansing with the Skin Fix Ectoin cleanser. This is kind of my favorite cleanser of the moment. It's really nice for normal to dry types, and it's going to be a really nice transitional cleanser for those moving into the fall months. So even if you find that you're really oily in the summer, you might benefit from this cleanser as the weather dries out a little bit. So definitely something to keep in mind. But if you're a normal to dry type, this is an all year round cleanser for you. It is incredibly gentle. It has ectoin and ceramides, so it's great for the skin barrier, and it's just a really nice gentle cleanse. Now, I don't cleanse my skin every morning, but when I do, this is the cleanser I use, and then I immediately go into my new face. So I always do my new face on clean skin. This is my microcurrent device that I use most mornings. I've used it, for probably close to 5 years. I've been using microcurrent in my routine. So I use either the gel or the cream from the company itself. I see a lot of people on social media who use kind of random oils and stuff as quote unquote conductors, but it's really important that you use a product that actually conducts the microcurrent or it's not going to work. So I always recommend using the one from the brand itself because that's going to be your best bet as far as efficacy. That being said, the cream I do really well with, but the gel tends to irritate my skin if I leave it on. But to be honest, either way, I end up rinsing them both off just because it's not really an essential in my skincare routine, and I want to save my skincare routine for the stuff that's really going to be impactful. So to me, that is the new face, but not necessarily the new face gel, if that makes sense. So I do my little 5-minute new face routine. Then I just gently wash off the gel. It is a water-based gel, so it is removed really easily with just water. I don't have to cleanse again. And then I pat my skin dry and go in with my vitamin C. I'm currently using up an open bottle of my SkinCeutical C Ferulic. It's one of the best vitamin C serums on the market, truly. It is the gold standard for a reason. But if you find that you tend to be more dry in the winter months, there are some really lovely lotion formulations. The one that comes top of mine is the Revision C Plus Correcting. It's another more pricey one, but again, another one that has a lot of research and development behind it. Vitamin C is one of those things that it's kind of taken years to perfect a lot of these serums. So sometimes you will see a higher price tag. That's 100% not to say that you have to spend a lot of money on vitamin C. There's a really nice Vanny cream formulation that has THD ascorbate. I love the Naturium vitamin C, but this is just kind of what I'm using in my own routine right now. And I'm really trying to keep that post summer melasma at bay. This is the time when you really have to make an impactful melasma routine if you're somebody who struggles with it. So I'm going straight to the gold standard with the SkinCeuticals C Ferulic and using up that bottle on my skin in the morning. I get this question a lot, and you absolutely can use vitamin C twice a day. It's 100% beneficial to have antioxidants in the morning and the night, but if you're only going to use it once a day, it's best to be used in the morning, because during the day is when we are exposed to most of the free radicals, like the UV, the pollution, all of the things that our skin needs to fight, and it needs vitamin C and sunscreen to do that. So that's why it's always best in the morning if you can. And then next, my moisturizer. I am still loving the Alpine Beauty Ghostberry moisturizer. It's such a lovely summer to fall moisturizer, especially for normal to dry types. And it's a really nice winter moisturizer for anybody who's normal to oily. So something to keep in mind as the normal to oily types transition into the fall months. If you found that the Alpine moisturizer was too heavy for you in the summer months, it might be perfect for you in the fall to winter. But if you're like me and you're normal to dry and it was perfect for you in the summer, you might need to transition to something heavier. I am still in Miami, so we're not in the thick of like really dry weather yet. So I'm still using the Alpine Beauty moisturizer, but I will transition to the Skin Fix Barrier Plus or this Aeraphyte in the winter months and when I travel to Ohio where the weather is more dry. Then of course, my tinted sunscreen. I use tinted sunscreen all year round, but it is most beneficial in the summer months for those of you who don't live in really sunny climates. I am, in a place that it's sunny year round, so I have to use a tinted sunscreen all year round. And really, if you struggle with hyperpigmentation, it's beneficial to use it all year round regardless of the weather, because it's going to protect you from that visible light. I'm still using the Isden Tinted. It is a nice liquid formulation, so it's pretty light, but I find that layered with the other creamy products I'm using, it's just fine. Some really moisturizing formulations, if you are interested in amping up your moisture as you move into the dry months, are the Elta MD Restore. That's a really nice one for dry skin. I also really like the one from Bubble. It's a great budget-friendly tinted sunscreen option that is nice and creamy and moisturizing. Both of those look extremely dewy when you put them on, so you really have to give it some time to kind of meld into your skin. And if you need to powder it down in the T-zone, you can absolutely do that too. So that's kind of my morning skincare routine as I transition into the fall months. And at night, I'm still removing my sunscreen with a micellar water, and then moving into that same Skin Fix cleanser I use in the morning. Then at night, I use my red light mask. So you might have seen on my Instagram that I've been using the Omnilux for probably 6 weeks now. This was the mask I consistently got the most questions about. Like every single time I had a Q&A, anytime I opened up questions in my DM, I had so many questions about Omnilux. So I thought, okay, it's time I give this a try. And I have been really enjoying it. It's a red light and near infrared light mask. So it combines those two. So it works on inducing collagen production, reducing fine lines and wrinkles. It works on reducing inflammation. So it's a really great mask for anybody who's just looking to amp up their skincare routine. It is super comfortable to wear. It is cordless, so you can walk around the house and multitask. I just kind of tuck the little cord that hooks into the battery unit in my bra or something as I walk around. So it's super, super helpful. I've really been enjoying it. I've definitely seen results since using it. Red light is a staple in my routine. I use it 3 to 5 nights a week now because I'm on more of a maintenance regimen. And I do have a code for them, so I'll link it below in the show notes along with links to everything I'm talking about in case you want to try that one. And the next thing I do at night would be my pigmentation serum. So I just used up a bottle of the Elastin Illuminate because it was one I got from my office. It's a really great one. I put a lot of my patients on that who are on non-hydroquinone skin brighteners. And I just started, which I'm so excited about, the La Roche-Posay Mela B serum. So this is a completely new molecule, a completely new ingredient that La Roche-Posay or L'Oreal has come out with. And I'm just really excited to try it. It's called Melasil is the name of the ingredient in the product. And it's a really nice price point. I think it's in the $40 range. So it's a lot less than a lot of the pigment correcting serums that I have used in the past or recommend. It can be found at the drugstore, which is also really nice with this product. And I'll let you know. So I recently had Dr. Heather MD on the podcast, Heather Woolery Lloyd, and she is an absolute expert in not only hyperpigmentation, but skin of color. And she said that she was super excited about this serum when we recorded that episode a few months ago. And then I was on the phone with her last week and I was just checking in to see, hey, what are your thoughts now that people have been using this for a while? And she said that she's seeing really good results. She's used it on a lot of her patients. a lot of the staff in our office, and they're seeing great results. So I was like, okay, say no more. Immediately ordered it from Target. It's now in my routine. And then after I use the La Roche-Posay Pigment Serum, I go back in with my Alpine Moisturizer. Again, if you need something a little bit heavier, I love the Skin Fix, love the Xerophyte. And then if I need a little bit more moisture as we head into the fall and winter months, I can use a little bit of 100% argan oil. That's a really nice oil to use on the skin because it's anti-inflammatory, helps to seal everything in. Alternatively, you can also do a layer of petrolatum. I really love the Skin Utility Ointment from Prequel. I call it Slugging 2.0 because it has a lot of other really nice soothing ingredients like bisabolol in it other than the petrolatum. So either an oil or a Vaseline-like or petrolatum-based product can really work wonders to steal in your routine as we get into the fall and winter months. Then as far as like any like random weekly treatments or additional treatments I'm doing to my skin, I am still using the Neostrata glycolic peel pads about once a week. They're pretty strong. Like this is like an at-home peel product. It's stronger than a lot of the other peel pads that I use. So once a week is really my max. If not, I'm using it every other week, and that just kind of helps to soften and exfoliate off those surface skin cells that are kind of coming to the surface with my other ingredients that I'm using, and just helps to kind of give your skin a nice canvas, a nice glow. Something I recommend before you're going to be putting on makeup or maybe going to an event. It's just an easy way to get like an immediate glow to the skin, but you're also getting the long-term benefits of glycolic acid, which of course is a chemical exfoliant. It helps to induce collagen production, all those good things. And then one thing I started using is a neck cream. So if you know me, I always preach that you want to bring everything down to your neck and your chest, your vitamin C, your retinoids, your sunscreen, and that's the best thing you can do. Like the most effective thing that you can do for your neck and your chest is just to bring down the products you're already using, especially those actives. But I recently have been like a little bit more bothered by my neck area, and I saw some before and afters from the Neostrata neck cream, and I was pretty impressed. And so after looking at the ingredients, I decided I wanted to incorporate it into my routine. So I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, and I'll definitely report back after some time. I apply it to my neck, and then whatever's left over, I apply it to the backs of my hands. And again, I'll link all this below for you guys, but that is my skincare routine at the moment. It's like 3 to 5 steps morning and night. I mean 5 if I'm counting the devices, which I don't really count as a skincare step. But so it's really simple. Even as we go into the fall and winter months, it's easy to really simplify and still get the results you need. I could simplify this even more actually pretty easily, but in the fall and winter is a time where layering can be helpful. So let's talk about my fall beauty routine because I get a lot of questions about transitioning makeup into the drier months. So I'm really leaning into creamy formulations, creamy foundations especially. I'm still using, most often reaching for the It Cosmetics CC cream because it's so incredibly moisturizing. It really lays well on the skin. And side note, I actually just posted on my Instagram a carousel about a new study that came out, which was so fascinating to me, about the causes of pilling. So we all know that when you're layering products, maybe you're layering too quickly, you're not giving things time to set in, you can experience pilling. But there are some people who, like, no matter what they do, experience a lot of pilling. And what this study showed is that the majority of this happens with sunscreens rather than foundations, and that by actually adding a foundation over, I think 98% of the people who had pilling with their sunscreen, the issue was mitigated by adding a foundation. So if you're someone who likes to wear foundation, it might be worth just using your same sunscreen and putting a foundation on top and seeing if that mitigates the issue that you're having. Some of the other things which were so interesting, they said that people with smoother skin in the study tended to have more pilling, which makes sense to me too, because I would think if your skin is smoother and there's not as many dead skin cells kind of built up on the top of the skin, there's not as much for those products to absorb into. Whereas if someone maybe doesn't have a smooth skin, doesn't use a lot of skincare or exfoliating ingredients or ingredients that increase cellular turnover, and their skin's maybe like a more rough and a little bit more dry there on the surface, there's more to absorb that product. That's just my thought. They also found that people with higher skin pH at baseline were noticing more pilling. So really, really interesting information there about pilling. If you're interested, you can go over to my Instagram and give that a read. It's just a carousel post, but it just got me thinking when I was thinking about my foundation, because that was one of the things that helped with the pilling in the study. So moving on with some of my other favorite fall products, I'm definitely leaning into this like maroon brown tone for fall. I think it's a really exciting way for me to feel like fall, because it won't feel like fall in Miami probably till after Christmas, to be honest. So I really this year am like compelling myself to lean into fall, because I find that when the season comes around, like I don't really decorate. I don't really obviously dress for it because it's still so hot here, and I don't embrace it like I used to do when I lived in Ohio. And like fall is a season I love so much. This episode is brought to you by, well, me. Skinthusiast.com is your one-stop shop for all things skin, hair, and beauty. I have countless blog posts to educate you on all the skin concerns and most common skin questions I receive. We also have a complete skincare basics guide on our shop page, as well as the cutest In My Skin era crew necks. If you want to support the show, please head over to skinthusiast.com/shop. And don't forget to rate and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts. So this year I vowed to myself that I'm going to embrace fall and just really learn to love it. So I have been incorporating more fall colors into my beauty routine. One of them being the lip that I have on right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, and it is the Clinique Black Honey. I have had this for literally years. It's such an OG iconic color, but I find that if I just really blend it in with my fingers, it's kind of a nice berry tint to the lip, which I really love. And then I have on my cheeks right now just a subtle pop of color, but this is the blush I've been loving for fall. It's the Dior Rosy Glow in Mahogany. Again, I'll link all this down below for you guys, but it's such a beautiful shade for fall, and they have a matching lip oil that I have as well. And then on my nails, I have been loving the C&D it's their Vinyl Luxe in Arrowhead. It's a really nice like maroony brown color for fall. So I just painted my nails yesterday freshly. I haven't really been doing manicures. I saw a really funny post from Valeria Lipovetsky, and she was saying how much freedom she feels now that she doesn't go to the nail salon. And I was like, wow, I had been feeling that way too, but I wasn't really putting it into words. But ever since I started regularly getting my nails done, I feel like I have time back. And I was kind of forced because I developed an allergy to the acrylates in gel manicures, so I can no longer use gel. And it kind of felt pointless to go in for a regular manicure because my nails have never held regular polish well, even when I prep them really well, because I just think I have naturally oilier nail beds, so it just tends to peel off same day. So it just makes more sense for me to quickly paint them at home. So I definitely feel like I've gotten hours of my life back, and I've been exploring with a lot of at-home nail colors. I've been using a lot of Olive and June. They have beautiful colors, and like I said, this fall one from C&D is like my favorite right now. So I've really been leaning into that as far as the fall beauty trends go. And I have been on the hunt for a couple of fashion pieces too. So I am on the hunt for a really beautiful like mahogany leather bag. I want something quality, but I don't want to spend $1,000. I want something really in between that is going to last me for season after season, but is like economical. I don't want to spend a ton of money. And then I'm also looking for a really good loafer. So just some little things that are kind of in the back of my mind as I'm watching TikToks of my favorite fashion creators. I'm really on the hunt for a couple of quality pieces for the fall, but I am not one to just like run and spend a bunch of money on trendy pieces. I really want them to be pieces that last me a long time. And let's go in a little bit to my kind of wellness routine this season. Not a whole lot is changing here. I'm continuing my increased protein diet to help build muscle and just feel more rejuvenated, more energized. I found that increasing my protein has been really, really helpful in not only the way my body looks, but how my body and mind feel. I'm getting better sleep. It's just been really refreshing after many years of being like more of a plant-based diet. And I still eat a ton of fruits and vegetables and believe that they're really like the key to longevity and health, but I have been increasing protein, and that looks like eggs, full fat, unflavored, no sugar, Greek yogurt. My favorite brand is Stonyfield for that. And then we've been eating chicken, we've been eating turkey. I do eat red meat, maybe once or twice a week. I eat a lot of fish. So just really healthy, lean proteins, trying to still be cognizant of the source. We really only eat from pasture-raised sources, which is pricey. I would say like my grocery bill is my probably single highest bill, aside from like paying for our house. But that was a decision I made years ago when I was pregnant, that was going to be a priority for me. And when I have to cut elsewhere, I do, just because I want to make sure that I'm feeding myself really well and feeding our daughter really well. So that's kind of become really easy. Now I know the brands I like. We use Instacart, so I'll get from Sprouts because they have the Stonyfield yogurt. They have the milk that we like. They have the Pasture Bird, which is pasture-raised chicken. And then we also have a meat guy that we go to at our local farmer's market who has pasture-raised meats, so we get from him as well. Then as far as supplementing protein, because it's really difficult to get enough protein when you're just getting it from food, at least I find. I don't have the hugest appetite, so it's hard for me to get a lot of the protein in just my diet alone. So I still supplement with a Ritual prenatal protein. I've been using this protein since I was pregnant with Josie 3 years ago. I probably have it every single day. I've been on a subscription for that long. I pay for it myself. This is like one of my go-tos. And then one recent addition about 4 to 6 weeks ago is the Sarah and Martina collagen powder. So I did an episode with Lily Nichols, who's a registered dietitian, and she talked about the importance of not only protein intake, but also how beneficial collagen can be. Of course, we know that there's mounting evidence that it can be beneficial for the skin. And if you want to read more about that, you can go to my deep dives highlight on Instagram, where I talk more about collagen and why I started incorporating it for skin reasons. But she also really brought to light how important it is just for like overall body health and protein requirements, including that collagen. So I'll link the one I use below. It's a newer brand. It's third-party tested, which is really important to me so that we know that there's no heavy metals and things like that in the collagen. So it's a bovine source, pasture-raised source, really like top quality collagen. So that's the one I've been using. Another little hack that I've incorporated more recently is making sure I eat breakfast before coffee. That has been such a game changer as far as like my mood swings throughout the day. Not that I was having crazy mood swings, but just my lack of energy as the day went on. I found that I would get the high from the caffeine and then kind of crash. And not only the high from the caffeine, but caffeine 100% spikes my blood sugar. I can tell a difference when I eat a meal first that I don't get that blood sugar spike from the caffeine. And I also have switched to half calf coffee from Four Sigmatic. It also has like different kind of adaptogenic mushrooms in it, not like psychedelic mushrooms, of course, but just some adaptogens in there to help with just your overall energy levels. And I have found a huge difference, and it's really tasty. I used to use my Nespresso, but now I have been making this in a French press, and it's like a really lovely morning routine to make that, have my coffee. I put a little bit of whole pasture-raised milk in there, and it's just like my little morning ritual, a little cinnamon. I look forward to it every morning. But I have been eating my breakfast first, which is usually like a couple hard-boiled eggs with salt and pepper, maybe some cottage cheese with a little bit of low glycemic fruit, and I do that before I have my coffee. And then, of course, I'm still taking my Bento prenatal. I've also been taking that for years. I think that anyone in the range of childbearing years, if you're planning to have a family or expand your family, it just makes sense to be on a prenatal. Most experts say you need to be on one 3 to 6 months before you give birth, but you also need to be on one after you give birth. So for me, it was just like I just kind of kept taking it after Josie because I know eventually we are going to expand our family. And my little pack has everything I need. It has my prenatal, it has my vitamin D, CoQ10, it has, there's one other thing in there that I can't think of what it is. I'll have to look, but I've been using those forever, and it's a personalized pack. So based on exactly what you need, the Bento company creates your little pack. So I take that every evening. One thing I'm really excited about is I've been using the Ritual Hyacera. I'm on my 2nd month, and I've definitely noticed an improvement in the hydration levels of my skin. So I am always really skeptical about supplements for skin and hair. As you guys know, like when I have one, I use the same one for years because a lot of what's on the market is kind of bogus. But what initially brought my attention to this Hyacera is that they kind of use the gold standard of clinical study, which is a double-blind placebo-controlled trial. So when you're looking at studies, when you're evaluating anything, that is the gold standard. That is what we look for. And in their study, it showed that it reduced wrinkles and fine lines and improved hydration. So I was like, okay, I'm sold. And I looked a little bit into the ingredients. It uses something called Hyabest, which is a biofermented, low molecular weight hyaluronic acid from Japan, and then Ceratic, which is a sustainably harvested plant oil extract with glycolipids and ceramides from France. So it makes sense that the combination of the glycolipids and ceramides and hyaluronic acid really help to increase hydration levels, which help to soften those fine lines. So I've really been loving that combination for my skin. I'll reach out to the brand and see if they can give me a discount code. I've never worked with them before, but I hope to work with them in the future just because I use a lot of their products anyways. And I'll reach out to the brand and see if they can give me a discount code that I can add into the show notes for that, for anybody who wants to try. And then hopefully it would work on my protein powder too that I've been using for years. Next in my fall routine, my fitness. So I just started using an Oura ring, which I'm excited about. I put it off for a long time. I don't love wearing wearables, because in my mind, I feel like I can do all of that. Like, it doesn't really matter if I track it, if that makes sense, right? Like, if I have a good workout, I have a good workout. What does it matter if my Apple Watch or my Oura Ring says I do? But what I'm most interested in is tracking my sleep. I want to make sure that I'm getting good quality sleep at night. I am like always sleeping 8 hours, but am I getting quality 8 hours? I don't know, because I do feel like throughout the day, I tend to lose energy in the afternoon, and I just want to optimize that as much as I can. Like, I'm a mom. I still see patients. I'm busy like running and trying to grow a business. So there's a lot of things going on in my life, as with all of you. Like, we're all juggling so much. I want to be optimized. Like, I want to be the best I can in every situation so that I can ultimately be there more for my family. So anyways, I have been starting to use the Oura Ring and I'm really loving it. I'm going to do like a full in-depth review on my TikTok, where I've been doing a lot more kind of like lifestyle content just to talk about my thoughts after I've used it for a couple more weeks. But it tracks sleep, steps, and then like gives you scores. It tracks your heart rate variability, all these things that I think are really interesting. So I'm actually really excited. I finally pulled the trigger on the Oura Ring, and for a long time I didn't love them because they had this like angular shape to them, and it was like very obviously a wearable. And now I do think it still looks like a wearable, but I like that there's an option for a smoother ring now, so it looks more like something I would buy to actually wear versus a wearable. So I will link the exact one I bought below because I think it's a newer version. And I have been having some trouble like getting myself to the gym or to my classes. You guys know I'm like a huge ClassPass user. I used to go 3 to 5 days a week, go to my classes. I love Pilates. I do like a Megaformer Pilates, which is a little bit harder than a regular Pilates, or I do a weightlifting class called Bundo, which I honestly is the best class I've ever tried in my life. It's weightlifting combined with Stairmaster, but it's been really a struggle for me. Like, me and my husband both work from home, and we have my daughter Josie, who's 2.5, and it just has been harder and harder for me to get myself to the gym. So this fall I've really leaned into like that and making sure that I have a good at-home setup, because I think that's kind of where I'm going to take my fitness journey for at least a few months. I think I'm going to take a break from classes, just because by the time I drive to my favorite classes and come back, I'm gone 2 or 3 hours, and that's just like a lot of time to be away, time I could be doing other things. So even though I really enjoy those classes, if I can get a similar workout at home, I'm going to do my best. So that being said, I have purchased a couple of things for like my home fitness setup, one of them being a walking pad. I did a ton of research on which walking pad I wanted, because I wanted one that would fold up and slide underneath my bed, because we live in a really small house and we don't have literally any storage, like hardly at all do we have storage. So I have to be very mindful about the things I purchase, and I try not to purchase anything that I can't basically hide under the bed. Like the fold out desk that I'm talking on right now goes under the bed. So this completely folds down, but there's also a little like handlebar that folds up. So you guys have seen all the walking pads where you just walk like with a desk, but I wanted a handlebar in case I wanted to walk without a desk being in front of me. So I really enjoy this one. I got it on Amazon. I'll link it below for anybody who's looking for a walking pad. And I try to do that every day after Josie goes to bed, because usually we'll go for like a little walk in the morning, so to get outside, get our sunlight. And I just try to do like double steps, that I'm also getting some steps at night. And I'll either work on my phone, or I'll just put on a show on my computer and use that as like my me time to catch up on any shows I'm watching and walk a little bit, get some steps in. The other thing I recently purchased is a pair of adjustable weights. So one problem I was noticing as I started to do more at-home workouts was, since I have been going to Bundo for so long, which is the weightlifting class, I was lifting a lot heavier there, and I simply did not have weights heavy enough at home to do the same thing I was doing at Bunda, and I didn't want to lose progress. So I bought these adjustable weights. I think the company is called Nuo Athletics. They're really, really cool. I'll link them below for anybody who wants to try them. They were an investment, but I figure if I'm not going to be using ClassPass, it's only going to be a few months of not using that to make up for the price of the weights. So they adjust anywhere from 5 to 50 pounds. They also have a set that goes up to 80 pounds. So that allows me to lift a lot heavier at home without having a bulky setup of like 20 dumbbells. So it's just 2 dumbbells that are adjustable, so I can easily kind of tuck them away. And the program that I've been using is on the Sweat app, which if anyone was like a BBG girl back in the day, I dabbled in it. I was never like really obsessed with it, but BBG is now called Sweat, and it's an app. It's by Kayla. She's actually amazing. I should try to see if she could come on the podcast, because she's such an inspiration. I don't know if she would, but I'm going to reach out and see. and there's a program on there with a different trainer called Power, and it's made specifically for weight training. So I've been doing that. It's been pretty easy to adjust with at-home equipment only. I haven't had any major issues. I don't have a bench, which eventually I am going to buy a fold-out bench from Amazon again that slides underneath the bed. But for now, I've just been using a chair kind of backed up to my bed so that it doesn't move around. And that's been pretty much all I needed. So this is a really nice weight training program. What's funny is, as I mentioned, I had been going to Boonda for weeks. So I had been going to this pretty difficult weight training class where I was progressively lifting heavier and heavier. So I was doing this at-home workout a couple weeks later, and I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to get a good enough workout doing this compared to what I've been doing. When I tell you, I couldn't even sit on the toilet the next day because of how sore I was. I was so impressed that I could get that sore from an at-home workout after consistently weight training in the gym for so long. So that made me feel really good. I know I got a good workout, so I've been continuing that ever since. And it's like 3 days of weight training with 2 optional exercises. And then I also incorporate obviously walking with that too. And again, all this fits underneath my bed. So if you're in a small space, that's super helpful because like I don't have a home gym that I can have a setup in, right? I need to be mindful about the room in my house. And I've just been really leaning into like kind of tapping into what my body feels it needs on any given day, whether that's stretching versus a long walk versus weights versus just purely rest, and not giving myself a hard time. I think that's one thing that's nice about lifting heavy is I don't feel like I have to work out every day. Like if I get 2 to 3 good weightlifting sessions, and I mean, when I say weightlifting, I'm literally using the dumbbells in my house, but with progressively heavier weights, and I'm increasing my protein, I feel like I need less workouts to really feel good. And then the walking and like the moving my body is really just, I want to keep my heart healthy. I want to keep limber. I want to be like 95 years old, bending down on the ground with my great grandkids. That's like really the goal for me when it comes to fitness, which is so different than it was 5 to 10 years ago. It was all about how I looked, and now I literally couldn't care. Of course, it's nice to look in the mirror and see abs, but it's not the reason I work out. I really want to be here for my kids and my grandkids for a long time and live a long but healthy and happy and easier life. I want to do whatever I can to really like stave off some of these chronic diseases and be limber. Like sometimes I look at people in their 60s and like they can't even bend down on the ground with their grandkids, and I don't want to do that. I want to do whatever I can to keep my body healthy and moving for as long as possible. And moving into kind of my mental health in this season, I have definitely been turning inward, as I mentioned, and reflecting a lot more. I meditate daily if possible. I 100% see a difference on the days that I can actually sit down and get an actual meditation in. But if I can't, I at least listen to a meditation as I'm falling asleep at night. I'll link the one I've been using below. I've been listening to it for probably 8 months now, the same one as I fall asleep every night. And there's just been it's almost like a superstition because some amazing things have happened in those 8 months. And in my mind, I think it's because I attribute it to this meditation. So I continue to listen to it every night. And that's kind of like my little nighttime routine. Sometimes I'll listen to it while I have my red light mask on as well. I'll journal a little bit. As I'm falling asleep, I kind of like doze off to all the things that I'm thankful for. I go through an entire list of my day, even as little as like the sun shining on my walk or Josie laughing at something funny, all these little things that just brought joy to my day, all the way to the big things as well. So that's kind of how I end my day and how I'm really nurturing my mental health in this season. And I hope you guys took something away from this episode. If you have any comments, questions about anything I talked about, please DM me on Instagram. On Instagram, obviously, is where I share a lot of the skincare heavy focus things, but I am, as I mentioned, sharing a lot more lifestyle, beauty, fashion, fitness on my TikTok, because after doing skincare for so many years, if you followed me like back in the day, you know I used to share a lot more lifestyle, but really my Instagram has become so focused on skin and hair science, which I love, but I do share a lot more of my other interests on TikTok, and my handle there is @the_skinthusiast. I just never changed it to my full name, which I probably should one of these days, but right now that's my handle. So head over there if you want to see more of kind of what I've been talking about here, and I'll be sure to link everything below. Definitely DM me if you want any topics covered in these episodes, because I really love chatting with you. I feel like we're on like FaceTime and I'm just rambling about all the things I love. So similarly, if there's anything you're loving, please let me know. I love trying your guys' recommendations. Like there's so many things I've found because you guys say you love them, whether it be podcasts, books, skincare products, beauty products. So definitely let me know in my DMs if there's anything you want to hear or anything you want me to test, anything you want me to try, anything you're loving. I want to hear it all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week, skin enthusiasts.